Welcome to InspireHer on the Achievement Channel, Nigeria's first and only 100% motivational TV station, broadcasting from the School of Eloquence studio here in Ikoyi, Lagos. InspireHer is a program designed to uplift, empower, and encourage women as we share real stories, navigate life's challenges, and discover the strength that lies within us. I'm your host, Onome Igugu, and with me are two incredible women, Esther Evbodaghe, a seasoned finance professional, entrepreneur, ordained deaconess, and passionate mentor dedicated to empowering women and youth through financial literacy. I also have with me Ngozi Ochuba, a pharmacist, wellness advocate, and midlife reinvention coach who helps women prioritize their health, wholeness, and well-being. Together, we'll be guiding today's conversation on a very important and sensitive subject: silent struggles, women and the reality of suicide. We'll uncover why so many women hide their pain, the everyday triggers, and most importantly, the hope, healing, and lifelines available through listening, faith, therapy, and community support. So sit back, open your heart, and let's inspire one another. Have you ever looked at women that looked cheerful, they looked joyous, they looked at peace, they had these big smiles, maybe at parties, only to find out that these women actually had suicidal thoughts? The truth is, some people will say that suicide wears makeup. I don't know if you've heard that statement. It wears makeup, it wears clothes, it looks put together. But beneath those smiles, beneath those clothes is something that majority of us do not know anything about. And that's what we're talking about today: silent struggles. Why do women face silent struggles of suicide and not talk about it? By the way, Madam Ngozi looks gorgeous with her hair. This is the first time I'm seeing her with this wig. So I just had to mention it. I'm sure some of you have been seeing her low cut, but she's the same person.
Thank you. It's me. It's just a wig.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay, I'm Madam Esther too. How are you doing? In your purple outfit. Beautiful. Okay. So, why do women put up this smile, look regal, and beneath that, they are fighting battles?
That's a lot. But that is the reality. You know, from the way you introduced it simply shows that a lot of the problems in the world are not even seen. A lot of things go on behind the face, the makeup, like you said, and we just go on thinking that all we see is what it is, but it's not. So for women, most of the time, they don't want to talk about their struggles for so many reasons. And one of the reasons is their role as women in society. You know, society gives the woman the role of like the emotional stabilizer of the home. The one who nurtures the family. So she's expected to be strong. Always, there's that pressure to always appear strong, no matter what is going on behind, you know, inside of her. So most of the time, the pressure to remain strong is there. And if she doesn't remain strong, then she'll be labeled as not fulfilling, weak and not fulfilling her role. She's the one that should be holding the family together. So why tell us you're breaking apart?
Your mother did it, your grandmother did it. What's your excuse?
Once you're telling us you're breaking apart, you're telling us you're not able to fulfill your role as a mother, a wife, a daughter, and so on and so forth. So, not wanting to fulfill the expectations, she doesn't talk about this thing. She struggles and suffers in silence. Then again, even she's afraid that if she speaks up, she might be stigmatized. Society will call suicidal thoughts depression. Society sees in some society, it's seen like a taboo. You're talking about suicide and depression. Society sees it as a spiritual problem. So looking at it as if this woman is actually possessed. But really, we know that suicide, the thought of ending one's life, is actually a medical condition. Depression is a medical condition, even though you wouldn't really say it's just medical. It's spiritual to an extent, it's emotional, but it's mainly a medical problem that it's treatable to an extent. In fact, very treatable. So, but because of the way our society is, nobody wants to be stigmatized, where you are labeled all sorts because you are exhibiting characteristics that they are not used to, that is different from what other people, you're different from others, and you are ostracized, stigmatized, and they don't want that to happen. So they keep to themselves. Then sometimes these women don't want to speak up because they don't even want to hurt their family. Because the women, by their nature, they are protective. They are natural. They are naturals. So they don't want a situation where they open up to their family, maybe their children and husbands, to tell them that they are thinking of taking their own life, that they want to end it. They are depressed. So they don't want that burden on their loved ones. Because you can imagine when you tell a loved one this, there's no way the person won't be worried. It will take sleep away from that family, because nobody wants to lose a loved one. And if they understand the enormity of what the person is going through, it can actually affect the other person. So for so many reasons, these women keep these things to themselves because of the shame, the stigma, especially because of the shame and the stigma. So they just keep carrying on and hoping that they could sort it out themselves. There's also that belief that I could handle this. And society sometimes makes it look like it's not okay. But women should understand that it is actually okay not to be okay, and you should speak up.
All right. Madam Esther, what do you think?
Okay, this is a very powerful and important topic, Onome. You see, I'm not a psychologist, but with research and conversation with people, I do know that suicide is a serious public health issue that is linked closely to mental health. You see, suicide among women in Nigeria is a quiet epidemic. A lot of women live with depression, anxiety, and trauma, and they never speak about it. Your guess is as good as mine why they choose to be silent. The reason is that we live in a society where women are expected to be strong quietly. We are expected to be strong, go through our pains and still be smiling, endure all things like they would groom us to be. So we keep quiet generally. We don't talk about this pain. And silence should not be a sentence. It should never be encouraged. It's a stranger, and women should not be encouraged to keep quiet. When you don't talk about these things, it gradually leads to depression. That is where you see women considering suicidal thoughts. So, we are usually told to pray hard, just snap out of it. But the truth is, it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as people say. Because these women are going about carrying scars all over their bodies. And it doesn't show on the face. So women should be encouraged to, share this pain. And for women to be able to do that, we sisterhood, we have to try to create safe spaces where women can come and say, I'm not okay. We have to be there for our sisters. We have to learn to listen to them, because we are tired of losing our sisters to depression. Because from depression, that's when these suicidal thoughts begin to build. So we should learn to lift our sisters up and pull them out of depression by being there, by trying to listen to them without judgment. And that way, you find out that, we'll be able to manage this better.
Very
So that's
true.
what I would say on
Yeah,
that.
very true. Because I've heard stories of people saying, "Oh, and she tried to speak to me. Maybe they put them down. The individual wasn't able to pick up with the conversation, and they
Yes.
started regretting."
Yes.
So, what are some of the signs of depression? How do we even spot it to know that an individual is actually depressed? Because one thing is to say we should support our sisters, but what if we as individuals do not even know these signs or understand these signs? So, how do we spot them?
You know, when we started, we said that depression wears makeup.
Yes.
Depression wears clothing. It looks like everything is perfect and normal. So it's something that is internal, so it's not easily spotted. But if we look closely and listen more attentively, we could spot it. Depression is a situation where somebody is always persistently or consistently sad and hopeless. You know, somebody feels hopeless about the future. Somebody is always sad. The person there's no joy, you know. So for you to spot this thing, most of the time, you notice some changes. One, even in the way the person talks. You know, they have a way of saying, just dropping some clues. If you don't listen rapidly and if your listening skills is not effective enough, you will not notice.
Yeah.
But if you listen carefully, you will notice somebody saying something that is out of place or something that is deep that implies other things. So you need to listen effectively, being able, you know, not just listen to the words being said, but listen to the things not being said, the body language, you know, change in behavioral pattern, even the sleep pattern. Somebody that would usually wake up and rush up to work, you notice that there's this loss of interest in the things that usually give the person joy. The person is no longer performing their duties, even at home, their responsibilities, they are neglecting. Some go into substance abuse. You know, you notice that maybe in their private spaces, they are taking substances that you will not even know they are doing. So those are some of the signs. That feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of sadness. When people begin to say things usually they don't say, they just drop a clue to you like, life, is it worth living? This work we do, self, you just work. At the end of the day, what it's there for you. You know, those kind of lines, they drop it. So those are clues they will drop. Subtle lines, yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, there was this lady who came to work. Like, she behaved like everything was normal. She was the life of the party. She's that individual who will come to an office space and the environment changes, okay? She did her morning shift, went back home, and the next thing, later in the evening, we heard she was gone. She drank something, and that was it. So while she was in the office, there was no sign, according to those who met her that particular day. So I'm just asking again, just reiterating the same question I asked her in terms of how we can spot these signs.
You see, Onome, most times, before people go into depression, you will see a sign of withdrawal. They will be withdrawn somehow. And that is why, like I said earlier, we have to be there for our sisters. You see, women have a gift. The power of listening is one of the gifts that women have. So when a woman listens, she doesn't just listen to respond. She listens to understand. When you talk to a woman, she immediately knows when something doesn't feel right. That is one of the gifts we have as women, listening. So we should try as much as possible to be there for our sisters, to listen to them without judgment. Because, you know, it doesn't take so much to listen to somebody. That is when you find out that this sister that used to be very, you know, cheerful is suddenly feeling withdrawn or is looking unhappy. And if you are not there, you will not be able to spot that. So we should try as much as possible to be present for our sisters, because it is when you are present in somebody's life that you will know a sister who is hurting in silence. And I believe that we can do better, like I keep saying. So let us try to listen to our sisters and not judge them, because we all need to be heard. We all need to heal, and we all need to live. We are tired of losing our sisters to depression and to suicide. So a sister who you show support to by listening to her can heal. So let's be there for our sisters.
Okay. How can family and friends spot some of these signs?
Okay. Family should actually be like the first line of support for anybody, especially for women. Daughters should be able to go back home, even from their husband's house, and be welcomed back home. In sometimes a married woman that's having problem at home in her marriage, in her husband's house, may be reluctant to go back to her own home because they'll tell you are married. Go back to your husband's house. You don't belong here anymore.
Yeah.
So she's like left hanging. She's not okay here, and she can't even go back to her family. So families should make it a safe place for their daughters to always. They should be welcome to come home anytime if they have a problem, and listen to them, so that everybody can put head together and solutions are found. How to spot somebody that is depressed in the family. When you are family, you know one another. You know people's pattern. You know their behavior. You know how they run their day. But when you begin to see change in patterns, somebody that will usually, like I said before, somebody that will usually wake up by 5 and by 7 he's off to work. You find out that he's being careless with his work. He's not excited about going to work anymore. Then some of them, from research, some of them begin to give out properties. Like when you're relocating, now I wouldn't need this, you're giving out. This person is not relocating. This person don't have any reason why he's giving out property. He's sharing his property as if, how a father shares property. You suddenly begin to give out clothes. Oh, you told me before you like this cloth. You can have it now. I would not need it anymore. Oh, you can give this to Charles when he comes back. She begins to share her property. Then at the health, some of them, health starts failing because, when you are not happy, it begins to eat up from inside.
Yeah.
The person is constantly sick, from one sickness to the other. And she said the person is withdrawn. The person can be withdrawn, or sometimes the attitude is the other way around. Somebody that used to be kind of an introvert suddenly becomes like the life of a party, becomes an extrovert. Some of them begin to act that way because in their head, they think they found a solution to their problem. They've already decided how to end it. So like, finally, I'm going to be free. And you see the person moving around excited for no reason. The person is happier than usual. Then you can see changes in eating pattern as well. A lot of people, when they are not happy, food is like, they fall back to food. It's like soulmates. So some begin to eat a lot and begin to put on so much weight. Then some lose appetite. They can't even eat anymore, and they begin to lose weight. So it could be just let it just be that you notice that there's something different. This is not the usual person. It's not the usual. Then some begin to sleep so much. They spend the whole day sleeping. They are so weak. They complain of weakness. They don't have energy. They don't have energy to do anything anymore. There's lots of interest in activities. Some are sleeping so much, then some begin to suffer insomnia. They can't even sleep at all. So it's just for you to notice that this is not the usual person. There's something off about this person. So you need, like she said, we need to pay attention to our family members, especially when they are talking or when they are doing things that you sense is odd. You need to pay closer attention to the person.
Okay. All right, Madam Esther. So my question to you will be, how can faith, because she's talked about family and friends, so how can faith, lifeline, or rather faith therapy, be a lifeline? So we've talked about family and friends, how they can spot these signs. How can we spot the signs using faith-based therapy?
What I'll say on that is, there are 3 vehicles that can help save people from suicidal thoughts or heal them from depression. You have the faith-based therapy, like you said. Then you have family support or community support. That's another way. Then you also have therapy. So these are the 3 vehicles that can help. As Christians, our faith is what we anchor on when we face challenges in life. So for those of us that are faith-driven, when we are faced with such challenges, then we go back to our Maker. We read the Bible, we search for scriptures, because every problem has its solution in the Word of God.
True.
That's for those of us that are faith-driven. Yes. So by prayers and, spiritual grounding, then we begin to find clarity, even when everything around us feels uncertain. And, therapy is another way that you can help heal. And therapy is not bad. It takes someone that has courage to be able to go for therapy. And therapy is like a voice when, there's silence. And with therapy, you can give voice to silence and pain can begin to release its grip. So therapy is also a recommended way by which people can heal.
Yeah, I think you should break down therapy, because I think some people are of the opinion that therapy, when they say you hear therapy, they're like, this is for big men. You understand?
Yes.
Let's break it down so that the average Nigerian can understand what it means to go for therapy.
Therapy can, it's in form of counseling.
Yes.
You understand? So you can, there must be somebody that you believe in, that you can speak with. So whether it's your pastor, whether it's a close friend, somebody that is your mentor, or anybody, so it doesn't necessarily mean maybe just going to see maybe a professional or something. Yes. So when you go for counseling and, somebody is able to talk to you and guide you out of that struggle, then you can heal. So therapy can be counseling, can be talking to a mentor, can be talking to somebody you believe in. So you can heal from there. And, with community support, you can also come out of such struggle, because that is why we need to be there for one another. So when you have people around you that tells you that, look, you are not alone, we are here with you, we see you, then you can also heal, from depression. So that's what I would say about that.
All right. So we need to share real life examples of people who actually overcame suicidal thoughts. But we need to go on a short break. When we come back, we will continue this conversation. Do stay tuned.
Do you feel terrified when speaking before a group? Are you stressed when asked to present? Do you bore people when speaking? Are you stuck with reading word for word? How do you give a speech with polish? Learn how at the School of Eloquence,
the home of public speaking. Attend our practical coaching in public speaking. Call 0802-303-2066 or log on to schoolofeloquence.org.
School of Eloquence, teaching the world to speak.
All right, so welcome back. We're still talking about silent struggles, women, and the reality of suicide. And just before we went on the break, we promised to take real stories. But before that, I want us to talk about triggers. What are some of the triggers that push women into depression?
Okay, there are many, Onome. You see, every day we wake up to the realities of financial abuse, financial pressure, abuse of any kind, loneliness, and failed relationship. These are things that can trigger depression. And the truth is that we are human. So we feel some of these things as women. That is why women should be encouraged to speak up and not to be silent. And we should stop telling our sisters to be strong. Every day, what's happening? Be strong, be strong. Yes, it's good to encourage ourselves, but at the same time, we should also allow our sisters to come to us and say, I'm not okay. Rather than telling them all the time to be strong. It is when they are able to share with you, that is when they don't fall into some of these things we are talking about. Because you can't wish these things away. You see, you wake up in the morning, bees are staring you on your face. Your children's school fees is due, house rent is due, you need to go for your medicals, and you know, the bills are just all there. It can bring pressure. And if it's not well managed, it can lead to depression.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are lonely. And loneliness can happen in any way. It can be loss of a spouse, it can be loss of your siblings and whatever, a loved one, and so on. That can bring loneliness. So there are so many things that can trigger depression. But the truth is, we must be able to talk about them. We must allow our sisters to come to us without judging them. If you see a sister, for instance, who found courage to come out of an abusive marriage, all she needs from you or from us as sisters is encouragement, love, support, not judgment. When you see a sister who is single, a mother who is single, and she's juggling her job and her children, all she needs from us is support, encouragement and love, not judgment. When you see a widow who is already suffering from a deep loss, all she needs from us is encouragement, love, support, not judgment.
Very true.
When you see a matured sister who is looking up to her faith, all she needs from us is encouragement, love and support, not judgment. So women, we can do better as women. We should stop judging ourselves. We should help to encourage one another. We should help our sisters heal. So that's what I want to promote in this conversation. We are tired of losing our sisters to depression and suicide.
Interesting.
In addition to what Madam Esther just said, even health issues can be triggers. Some people are going through so much pain, chronic illnesses that they can't even talk about. And when they feel that help is not coming, they might decide this suffering is too much. I might as well, end it. Then sometimes even being a carer, some people are taking care of maybe aged parents that are very sick, and it's taking a toll on them. Some women have their parents, aged parents that are bedridden in their homes, and they are solely responsible for the upkeep and the care of these people, in addition to taking care of themselves and their own family. And sometimes it's overwhelming, as if help is not coming, and people are underestimating the pressure they are going through. So sometimes if it's so much and they can't take it anymore, especially if there are other pressures to maybe the finances to keep up with taking care of this situation, some may decide that they should as well, end everything. And so many pressures out there. Every day you are inundated with different needs, and people are not meeting up. Some people are deep into debts. They've borrowed and borrowed and borrowed, and there's no hope of, where is the money to pay back coming from, and the embarrassment is enormous. They can't handle the shame anymore. Then for some, it's actually issues of self-worth. When people just feel they are not good enough. It could even be body image. This idea of always when you see somebody, why are you not losing weight? You are too fat. You're so shapeless. You're not as beautiful as you used to be when you were 15. What happened to you? You just see somebody, this is not you. You're not looking fine at all. You know, issues of self-image come in. The imposter syndrome, where the person don't feel good enough. You don't feel you are adequate. You don't feel the issue of self-worth. When the person's self-worth is so low, that can also make one become depressed. And if depression, like Madam Esther told us initially, if depression is not managed and it lingers and continues, it could also lead to one saying, I might as well end it all.
All right. So, Madam Esther, can you share some of the stories of women who have actually overcome suicidal thoughts? Because it's easy to say, oh, this, that, and some individual out there is saying, how many people have actually gone through this process and come out to actually do something meaningful with their lives?
It's not something people like to publicly talk about, so it's sensitive.
Yeah.
But however, there are those that are on the public space that you can maybe Google or check out. So we can just talk about one or two. Let's look at the story of Lady Gaga, for instance, the superstar. You know, she openly shared her story, you know, how she suffered from PSTD. You know, it's an anxiety disorder. You that is in the medical field, because that's for you people. You know, so she shared her story, you know, saying how she suffered from, you know, past trauma. And she gave credit to medication, therapy, and her new, and her foundation, you know, for helping to keep her alive. And she shared that people who seem to have it all can also go through some of these challenges and come out of it. Then we also have the story of a Nigerian mother who publicly shared her story on Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative. You know, she talked about her story, how she slipped into depression when she lost her job, and she considered ending it all.
Wow.
You know, but thank God for good friends. So with the help of her friend who called her, you know, noticed her withdrawal and called her, you know, and was able to connect her to therapy. So she was able to turn around from that. And she went through therapy. After that, she was able to rebuild her confidence. Then she found small business to do and was able to meet her bills again. And today she's publicly telling her stories in her local church. So these are some of the examples out there to show that women can actually go through depression and come out of it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, this just reminds me of one I encountered. I was going through people's status, and I saw a young girl's status where there was some, I can't remember exactly her words, but she put emojis of somebody crying, and like she doesn't think she can go on. You know, there was something strange she said. I don't know her face to face, but I have her number on my phone because I think she's a client. So I flipped through. But in mind said, just go back to that status. I went back to the status. I read it again. I said, let me put a call to this girl. I put a call through to her. I said, I just saw your status. What's going on with you? I hope you're fine. She knows me. She now said, Auntie, good afternoon. I'm fine, but I'm not fine. I said, so what's going on with you? I saw your status. It doesn't sound too good. I don't like what I'm saying there. She said, Auntie, I'm pregnant. I said, people get pregnant, so what about it? Of course, I know she's not married. She said, Auntie, I'm pregnant. And the young man that I'm pregnant for said it's not his pregnancy, that he doesn't know what I'm talking about. I said, so who have you told that I don't like this thing on your status? I hope you're not trying to do anything silly. I said, so where are you? Can you come over? Let's talk. He said she's at Ibadan, that she went to Ibadan for her youth service. And apparently, I think why she didn't want to talk to anybody about it because her father is like an overseer of a church. The father is a pastor. So she said, you know, my father is a pastor. I'm a pastor's daughter. So where do I start from? My parents won't take it. And the shame will be too much. It's unbearable. I told her, why not come over to Lagos? I'll go with you to see your parents. So that was how we started talking. She said, Auntie, that I shouldn't worry going with her to see her parents. But that she's happy I called, and we had a long conversation that she's not going to do what she put on her status, that she just wanted somebody to reach out at least and let her share how she was feeling. So at a point, she was able to open up to her parents, and I think the parents now waded into the situation. And that was how I think they sorted it out. So the truth, like we said, sometimes before they actually do this, they always put out something. In Facebook especially, I read the last one of a young girl that she was struggling so much. She was taking care of her parents. She was paying her school fees. She was going through so much. And in Facebook, she started giving out her properties, and she started talking about death. That how death is actually a solution. That, you know, she's a poet, so people thought she was writing a poem. That when you die, you don't have feelings anymore. You don't feel pain.
There's no pain.
So they just thought it was one of her beautiful poems, and people were commenting, you know, your poems are. And I think after that poem, I think a day or two after, it was announced that she had taken her life. So it's really real. There's always that odd behavior. So once we notice it, we should wade in. We shouldn't wait, because if you wait, if you don't wade in immediately,
It might be too late.
it might be too late.
So how can we encourage women, or how can we create safe spaces for women, basically, to be able to come out to talk about these things and not be publicly shamed about it?
To create such safe spaces, what we need to do is to ensure that we build trust, empathy, and community support. This is very important because, you know, I feel a bit emotional about this topic because, honestly, we are tired of losing our sisters to suicide. And we have to try as much as we can as women to be present for ourselves. You see, trust is very important in any relationship. I keep saying it. If I can't trust you, I can't feel safe to tell you anything. And I believe that we can do better as women. When somebody comes to you and shares something confidential, something so confidential with you, you should be good enough to keep it private and not go and tell her stories to everybody.
Stories all over the place.
Because that's one thing that, you know, some women do, which is not too good. And when you do that, you don't encourage openness. So when people tell you something and you are able to keep it, you earn their trust. Take it from me. When people know that they can tell you something and they won't hear it from any other way, you will earn their trust. So we can do well by ensuring that we create that space where people can come freely, our sisters can come freely and share their pains with us. So empathy is another thing that we can do well in. You know, we should learn to be compassionate. We should learn as much as possible to show compassion to people, to our sisters, to one another. You know, when you are the type that you show compassion, people will always come to you. They will gravitate towards you. When they have challenges, they will just like to be around you because they know that you will show compassion to them. Let's not judge our sisters. When they come to us, let's not be in a hurry to criticize them. We should be able to listen to them and not judge them and encourage them. And when we do that, we create that safe space, then they will always come to us. And, you know, community is a lifeline. Because when people know that they have people around them that they can hold hands with in times of their challenges, they will feel stronger. So let's build that kind of space, that community where people can, you know, come and say, okay, I have somewhere or somebody I can fall back to when I'm facing a difficult time in my life. So that's what I'll say about that.
I have anything to say as well, please?
Okay, to add to what Madam Esther just said, you know, when people talk to us, we shouldn't dismiss it as frivolous. Is that all you're talking about? What's the big deal in it? Everybody's going through it. No, those kind of lines. We should let people talk, and we should really, really listen well. Listen effectively, listen actively. Look at the body language, because it might look frivolous to you, but it's eating the person up. So that when we listen, sometimes people just want somebody to listen and show that somebody cares, somebody notices. You know, most of the time, people who commit suicide, when they put up all those notes they write, they're actually not looking, they don't really want to die. They're actually looking for a solution. So if the solution comes, you find out that they will give up the thought of suicide. But it's when it looks like solution is not coming, then it lingers, and before you know it, they actively commit suicide. So dismissing people's complaints, or they come to you and confide in you and you belittle their complaints as frivolous, it's something we should be mindful of, you know, and let's learn to listen. People just want people to listen to them.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for staying with us on today's episode of InspireHer here on the Achievement Channel. We have shared deep truths about the silent struggles many women face, but we have also highlighted the power of hope, listening, faith, and community. Remember, no woman should ever walk alone. There is strength in speaking up, and there is healing in being heard. A big thank you to my amazing co-hosts, Esther and Ngozi, for their wisdom and passion. And to you, our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Let's continue this important conversation. Follow us on all social media platforms at Achievement Channel on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for more inspiring content and updates. Don't forget to use our hashtag #WeSeePossibilities and share your thoughts with us. Join us again next time as we continue to uplift women, inspire courage, and celebrate resilience. Until then, keep shining, keep believing, and always remember, you are never alone.
My name is Chris Obaisi. I'm the AD Finance and Strategy for Zikis Agri-Allied Industry PLC. Keep watching Achievement Channel. Very informative, interesting to watch, and it can transform your mind. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Fumi Akinyele. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Food Basket Foundation International. Shout out to Achievement Channel. You guys have been fantastic. You've been here. You've been engaged. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
My name is Henry Onome Igugu. I'm a senior fellow and full-time faculty at Lagos Business School. Hello, everybody. This is Achievement Channel, your best channel in Lagos. Make sure you tune in. Thank you.